Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of West of Loathing. Last time we left off we were hanging out here in, this is the kids' rooms, yeah. So, we went into that one last time, but this one I don't think we did, yes. Oh, you're terrified, friend, hi. Toy box, who knows what horrors it contains? A stuffed gun! Not at all effective as a gun, but it's also not at all effective as a bludgeon. Beautiful. Less macabre than you were expecting, okay. Oop. What's the ghost hunter? Current location. Man, jeez. We gotta take care of this one fast. What are you talking about? She's just a little kid. You never spent any time around little kids? Never noticed how they're all as mood-swingy and unpredictable as drunks and have a tendency to be selfish and unempathetic because those parts of their brains haven't developed yet? Well... I mean, you're in charge here. For some reason I don't really understand, but that kid's hair falls all over the, over her face and she starts crawling around backwards on the ceiling and talking about how we're bad dolls that need to be punished. Don't say I didn't warn you. Eesh. Okay. Wooden blocks of letters. Play with them. Ah! God. It's more than a 3.5... This is more of a 3.5 poster bed. I see. This guy has a smile frozen on his face, and his eyes dart around in panic as he pretends to sip tea. One eye twitches as he tries to whisper to you out of the corner of his mouth. A drop of sweat rolls down his brow, and he stares at the little ghost he doesn't seem to have noticed. So I'm not getting it. Can you speak up? His hands are shaking. As if he was holding an actual teacup, it probably would have shattered by now. He hisses at you through clenched teeth. Sorry, can't understand you. Bye. The little girl ghost is serving imaginary tea to her guests. The doll, while terrifying, is largely indifferent. The museum employee, on the other hand, is playing along with the rictus grin on his face. The little girl wears an annoyed and disappointed frown. Hello there, name's Quasi. Can I join your tea party? You want, I guess, but it's a terrible tea party. What's wrong? You aren't having any fun? All I have is dumb made-up tea. I want a proper tea party like Mama took me to. Tell me more about that party. Went to a real tea room. It was so pretty. There were vases with flowers in them, and everyone was dressed up in suits and pretty dresses. And there were white china teacups for the tea. Real tea, not imaginary. Well, that sounds very nice. It was so nice, and everyone was so polite and charming and elegant. Well, until the fight started anyway. Oh, there's a fight? Well, two of the gentlemen there got into an argument. I don't know what it was about, but I guess one said something the other one didn't like, and he was so insulted he threw his tea right in the first man's face. Then they took out guns and started shooting at each other right there in the tea room. Whoa. They were still really elegant though. They had silver and ivory pistols, and they kept their pinkies out the whole time. Anyway, I don't remember the rest very well, except one of them missed the other and shot me by mistake. I'm so sorry. Thanks, but it's alright. Heaven's supposed to be really nice, so I guess I don't mind so much. But I didn't get to finish my tea party, so I want to have another one before I go. Except I don't have any tea, and make-believe tea isn't as fun. I can just fight the ghost child? No. Actually got some tea right here. Well, that's wonderful, thank you. She serves the tea and the four of you. Okay, well, not the doll. Sip it with your pinkies extended in genteel fashion. Then with a giggle and a wave, she fades away. Rest in peace, kiddo. Okay, you're free. Oh, thank God, I thought that would never be over. Look at me, I'm shaking like a leaf. Kind of a freaky situation, right? Having to deal with little kids freaks me out bad enough. Having to interact with the ghost of one was horrifying. Anyway, thanks for the rescue. I need to get back to work. What do you do here? Run the candy counter at the visitor center. Oh. Hello, terrifying doll. Black chalkboard, write something. Ah! You monster! Who would write this? Should really make sure that never happens to anyone again. Take the chalk. You look at the chalk and shudder, and then you look at the board and shudder, and then take the chalk. Got on in blue chalk. That was how I get it? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean it is chalk, but God, that's not. I wouldn't have expected. You had to interact with that a second time to actually get that. Okay. It's a doll mine. How adorable. Just look at all the little miners and minecarts and mine shafts and bowls of minestrone. What's this? Tiny stick of dynamite stuck in a little borehole. This toy is interactive. Tiny stick of dynamite. Did you know that firecrackers are just tiny sticks of dynamite, and that this is just an even tinier one, and that pumpkin is technically a berry? Hi. This is a much nicer vanity than that of the average frontier teen. Gussy yourself up. Various powders and creams and pomades to make yourself slightly more presentable. Damn right. Daniel Boone. Oh my God, it's a It's like a fangirl poster except it's Daniel Boone. The corner is loose. See what's behind it? Ah! Fuck you, no. You just ripped it so it said boo. Someone's been slacking on their geometry homework. Tisk tisk, do it for them. You understand, or you decide to take the book with you and do the assignment later. Geometry test book. Rufus will probably understand this, but you sure as hell don't. Science stuff. Armoires full of schoolgirl skirts and other clothes that would probably not fit you, even if you think they might suit you. Looks like someone forgot a book under the bed. Fun law. Rules for parlor games. You wanted to learn how to play Pinochle, Sass the Bandit, Polly's Maiden Aunt, or Sit Quietly, then this is the book for you. Sit Quietly. We always played in school was... What was it called? Quiet Ball? I think, where we just got in a circle around the room and the teacher gave us a ball and we just threw it around the room. That was it. I think it was mostly just so the teacher could have peace and quiet while doing work, so we would just shut up. What's this devil's music? Yank the needle away from the cylinder and hide the handle away. You place the needle in the cylinder and crank the handle vigorously. I'm good. I'm good. We can have silence. Alright, well we turned off the music. Cool. So, we have a few things that we picked up. So, I have a box of science doohickeys, 2 books, tiny stick of dynamite, I don't know where that goes, and I know where the chalk goes. So... Found something. Thanks. Gun damage increased, you learned a medicinal gas. Okay, so the chalk, we gotta go over here and deal with you. Challenge him. Chalk up your cue and the ghost reacts to balls. It's a close match, you have to consult that geometry book a few times just to work out all the angles. Oh, that's what the geometry book is for, so I would have needed that too. Oh, I'm glad I didn't come back immediately after getting the chalk, I would have lost again. Okay. The game comes down to a fight for the 8-ball, and you manage to barely squeak out a win when the ghost catches an unlucky bounce off the corner of the pocket. Well, shucks. Nice shooting, Tex. Flips you a finger gun salute, winks, and fades into nothingness. Hooray! Okay. And now that I've done that... So, chalk's done. I need to get back to the library for these 2 things. So... We're getting there, though. Hello. So, investigate. Basics of gun law. There we go. That's what I need. Find the shelf where fun law belongs and put it back. The next book on the shelf is entitled Gun Law, which might be even more entertaining. Overview of the laws regarding guns, which even at this point in history already don't make any sense. I'll definitely give this a shot. What about the textbook? You have no idea where to start. Okay. So the geometry book was just for that. Yeah, I don't know how to fix you. I would have thought making you, like, something to keep things quiet. Regarding guns, read it. You learn basically everything there is to know about gun law. Now you can be the prosecuting attorney and defense counsel in addition to judge, jury, and executioner. Gun law. +5 pistol attack damage. After that, you put the book back on its shelf. Time to spin some justice. I never read duel law, did I? Yeah. You learn all about the laws pertaining to dueling. It turns out that when 2 guys want to murder each other in a fair and reasonable manner, things get legally tricky. Extra damage. Yeah, so... I should have read that last time, I suppose. So now that I know that, there's somewhere I need to go that actually has something to do with that, and I don't remember where it is, but... It's cool that we have it. At least. And then yeah, there's nothing I really want to look up, I don't think. Actually. You look up boo. Weird, there's an entry for that word but no definition, it's just a picture of... Oh no. Oh no. Picture of what? A picture of... What? It's a picture of you! Ah! I just thought, I was like, you know what, we should look up boo. And I did. And it was worth it. Alright. Alright, thought I would try. Abstract buddies, gallery. Yeah, there's a ghost somewhere. What was the deal with you? Oh yeah, you. You're the one I needed it. That's right, you're the one. Yeah, the lawyer in here. What's your problem anyway? In fact, I think you'll find I'm quite conversant in the finer points of our justice system, particularly as it pertains to guns and gun-related activity. Horseradish, all trousers and no briefs. Yeah, we'll just try me, smart lady. Fine, obviously you aren't going to leave me alone, so just ask your questions. Wallsy Mofo speaking for the record, state your name, occupation, and cause of death. Felicity Wainwright, defense attorney, lost a court-approved trial by combat. Oh, trial by combat's been outlawed for like 15 years. You understand that ghosts don't visually age as time passes, right? Alright. So your client called for trial by combat, which means you and the prosecutor had to face off in the duel? That's correct. And you lost? She squints at you. You acting dumb to try and throw me off guard? I withdraw the question. Why are you stuck as a ghost? Because although trial by combat was already well out of fashion at the time, it was still a valid legal recourse. Should have been prepared for the possibility, but I wasn't. My lack of training resulted in an innocent man being executed for murder. Oof. How was he executed? Hanging, I assume. Obviously, I wasn't around to see it. Or at least you had need to prove that the loss wasn't your fault. Trial was completely fair and above board. There's no chance of there having been foul play on the prosecutor's part. My loss is my own. I'd have to prove your client was actually guilty, and therefore your feelings of responsibility are misplaced. Look she gives you is hard and cold. Look, you think you know a thing or two about the law? How about you tell me the first rule of being a defense attorney? Don't make fun of the judge's beard. Don't refer to his gavel as a weird little hammer. Don't accidentally call him mom. Weird little hammer. You have to trust and believe in your client. If you don't believe your client is innocent, you'll never convince anyone he is either. If I want to convince you he was guilty, you have an uphill fight, fella. You're essentially playing prosecutor here. Alright, tell me about the case. My defendant was Matthew Guilty Macready, accused of murder of Victor Vic Timsbury at noon, June 18, 1878 in Reno. I have some questions. Your client was actually named Guilty? Come on. Names don't mean anything. I once had a client named I killed the guy. Yeah, I get it. He was totally innocent. For someone's actual legal name, sure, but nicknames are usually given some sort of basis. Ever met a really tall guy called Tiny or a fat guy called Slim? Arguably, the nickname Guilty would reinforce my client's innocence. Totally absurd, but I'll let it rest for now. What was the cause of death? Timsbury was shot through the heart with a .45 caliber revolver. Macready owned such a gun? Yes, he was holding it at the time, and subsequent examination showed that it had been recently fired. You messing with me? Further questions? Yes, I do have some more questions, yeah. This was at noon precisely? Yes, that was confirmed by witnesses. Also, Macready owned a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hours. There were witnesses? No, half a dozen of them. Pretty sure there's something you aren't telling me. Not obligated to play my hand face up, Mr. Prosecutor. Okay then. Hang on a second. Shot with a pistol in front of witnesses at exactly noon. Was this a duel? So you can add 2 + 2 after all. Well done. As luck would have it, I've just recently read a whole book about duel law. What? Why? No reason, just happened across in the library and thought it might be interesting. An entire code of law you found at random just for the heck of it? Yep. Let me do a quick review. Duels is legal provided it's been between exactly 2 people at a specific prearranged time and place using the same or at least essentially similar weapons. They have to either face each other down and quick draw at the appointed moment or do the 10 paces turn and fire routine, is that right? It's the gist of it, yes. I guess let's start with you telling me the facts of the case and I'll interrupt you rudely if I have any questions. Right, but if you push me on trivial nonsense, I'll get mad and you'll have to start over. Seems fair, go ahead. Macready and Timsbury got into an argument in a saloon on the evening of June 17th. Apparently Timsbury accused Macready of cheating at poker. Macready and Timsbury got into an argument in a saloon on the evening of June 17th. Apparently Timsbury accused Macready of cheating at poker. Let's see. Accused of murder, June 18th. Okay. So that goes to, yeah, Got into an argument on the saloon, and then I'm guessing they agreed to have the shootout on the next day? Because that doesn't add up. So they probably agreed. I have some questions. Was the name Saloon? What day of the week was this? Tell me more about the argument. Yeah, what more about the argument? There's not much to tell. The other player in the game had already folded their hands in that round, so they weren't paying very close attention. All we know is that Timsbury suddenly accused Macready of being a dirty, cheating varmint, and Macready said Timsbury was just sore because he'd been losing all night. Macready have a history of cheating? Been accused of it once or twice before, but Reno's a gambling town and he hung out in the rough part of it. Getting accused of cheating by a sore loser when you're on a lucky streak is par for the course. But if Macready had a history of cheating... and he hung on out in the rough part of it, getting accused of cheating by a sore loser when the lucky streak... It would be irrelevant, because the reason for the duel is immaterial to the legality of the duel itself. Motive isn't an issue here. Remember how I warned you about taking me off with stupid digressions as an excellent example? Okay, I have another question. What was the name of the saloon? Two-Headed Horse. So I know how far I can push now. Weird, did they have one? No, I think the proprietor was going for a sort of double entendre, but it didn't really work. No, it really doesn't. Two-Headed Spider, maybe, but... Anyway, do you have any other questions? Go ahead. Bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark... I guess I didn't ask about what day it was. Yeah, there was one more question. And then to take it outside, but since it was dark out, they agreed to meet for the duel the next day, and that would be the 18th. Yeah, okay. Okay, go on. Well, the next day, they both showed up shortly before noon and squared off about 30 feet from each other. When noon struck, Macready fired, fast enough that Timsbury didn't get his shot off on account of having his head shot off. That's pretty much the long and short of it. I'm gonna have to ask for some more details. What weapons were they using? Macready had a .45 caliber single-action army revolver. Timsbury had an older model .36 cap and ball Navy revolver, which he loaded with paper cartridges instead of packing the gunpowder by hand. Those are significantly different weapons, yes. You kidding me? They're both pistols. A modern cartridge revolver versus an antique cap and ball loader? Ridiculous. That antique was in production until 1873 and was considered one of the most reliable and popular six-shooters in the territories. Furthermore, the restrictions against differing weapons in the duels against pistols versus rifles or the proverbial knife in a gunfight, or a more recent example, a nitwit trying to argue the law against a professional attorney. He's just a bit harsh. We're done here. Get out. Rats! I mean, they were pretty different weapons. I mean, an actual, like, muzzle loader like that versus... Alright, let's go. Okay. So... that seems fair. So I have some questions. What day of the week? Monday? That makes sense. Everyone's a bit grumpy on a Monday. Should make the weekend Sunday and Monday instead. Then you could spend Monday relaxed instead of having to go to work. Then, whatever. Do you have any other questions? No, go on with the story. Bartender yelled. Go on. Okay. So I'm gonna have to ask for some more details. So... yeah, we already went down this path. He fired exactly at noon? Yes, as soon as the church bell started ringing. You also mentioned Macready's pocket watch. Macready fired as soon as the church bell struck noon. Yeah, Macready's pocket watch. He had a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Is that important for some reason? I mean, if I say objection here, you're gonna say the fact that if he was cheating or not doesn't pertain to the case, so... I'm not going to say that. Whoop. Whoop. Oh my god, I didn't mean to click that. I actually meant to click the one that's above it, so... go on. Alright, gonna have to ask for more details. So... he fired exactly at noon. So Macready fired as soon as the church bell struck noon. Instead of what I just said. If you got a point to make, or are you just stalling for time? Oh, okay. You said there were witnesses? About half a dozen of them, watching from across the street or peeking through half-open shutters. Were they interviewed? Yes, and their stories lined up with what I just told you. Were any of them known associates of Macready? Not aware of any of them being actual friends with Macready, but he was a local and a lot of people knew him. She gives you a suspicious look. Wait a minute. Just where are you going with... objection! Oh, come on! Any one of those people could have interceded on Macready's behalf. What? And done what exactly? Well, they could have shot Timsfield with a more accurate weapon, like a rifle, or... then there'd been 2 gunshots instead of 1. Are you suggesting they shoot him with a poisonous blow dart? Well, was he tested for poison? Get out! This is fun, though. This is fun. I like this. Alright, back at it. Hi. Let's go. Ghost fixes you with a steely stare, preparing to argue with you some more. Let's go. Let me do a quick review. Yep, that's the gist. Seems fair. Alright, got into an argument. Let's check these again. Name the saloon, day of the week, tell me more about the argument. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's okay, what happened next? Let's try this instead. Oh, wait, no, that just takes me to the next thing, that's right. Yeah, dark, they agreed to meet for the duel the next day, 18th. I have a question. Okay, this I never asked questions on. Let's see. Did they set a specific time? Yes, high noon. Yours was it always high noon. Tradition, I suppose, and since the sun is at its highest in the sky, everything's brightly lit and there aren't many shadows, so that's good for gunfighting. Plus you can have your duel on your lunch break. You have something else. Why didn't they just fight right then? Because it was dark. You can't have a gunfight in the dark. Oh, I get that, but they could have just had a regular old fist fight. They were mad enough to shoot each other to death but not punch each other? Well, without getting too psychoanalytical, these guys were gunfighters. I mean, they counted that as a significant part of their identity. Fighting without guns was not just outside their wheelhouse, they considered it a waste of their time and talents, like asking a fancy French chef to make you a grilled cheese. Okay. Why didn't they just not fight? What? Well, a fight breaks out in the heat of the moment, that's one thing, but they cool off enough to schedule a meeting for the next day? Still go through with it? Card game's a heck of a thing to get killed over. Honor thing, I suppose. That and they were each confident that they wouldn't be the one getting killed. Yes, it's dumb, but it's also extremely immaterial. Toxic definitions of masculinity and a general lawlessness of the frontier are not what's on trial here. Yep. Alright, so... yeah, something else. Sorry, never mind. What happened next? Well, the next day they both showed up shortly before noon and squared off. When noon struck, Macready fired fast enough that Timsbury didn't get a shot off. Kind of having his head shot off. Okay. So, what weapons he fired exactly at noon? You said there were witnesses. And then, yeah, we went over the weapons thing. What weapons were they using? Yeah, something else. Exactly at noon. You also mentioned Macready's pocket watch. Yes, he had a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Is that important for some reason? Maybe this is talking about Macready's cheating at the actual fight. Gah, Macready had already been accused of cheating in the past, and this time he was. What are you even talking about? All he had to do was set his watch a few seconds early. Doesn't make any sense. He didn't shoot early. He shot when the church bells rang. That's verified by witness testimony. Not what I'm saying. I'm saying he used the watch to warn him when the church bells were about to ring. A 5-second get ready alert would have given him a huge advantage in reaction time. That's okay. There we go. That's what we're going for. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because when it said wait, the pocket watch, I was like, oh, you're just gonna say like, it's not important or something. So I skipped like the one thing that was the answer. But hey, at least we got to see everything. What do you say to that, counselor? I'll give you that one. That's not bad. There's just two problems with that argument. Oh, what? Firstly, you're just guessing. You have no evidence. Oh, well, and secondly, even if Macready was using that trick, which he may well have been, he was pretty clever, it wouldn't be illegal. What? Nothing in duel law prohibiting the use of minor strategies like that. So long as Macready didn't fire before the appointed time, it's all above board. Nice try, Mr. Prosecutor, but I think you better go think about this case a bit more before trying again. She pushes you out of the gallery and shuts the door. Well, nuts. Huh. So what does actually need to happen there? Huh. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit more, I guess. I mean, I don't think this is right, but I just kind of want to see what happens if I say objection here. Ah, what the heck? Macready fired at the wrong time. What are you talking about? He fired exactly at noon with the church bells. There are witnesses. That's right, he fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Depending on geography and the time of year, it could be hours different from clock noon. Macready fired early and it makes the duel illegal. Oh my god. That's what it wanted? What do you say to that, counselor? Felicity gives you a slow smile. And I hand it to you, prosecutor mofo. You're a lot better at this than I give you credit for. That's a good thought you had there. It's just one problem with it. What's that? I already thought it. Take that! She hurls a small book at you, which you just barely managed to catch. A nautical almanac? The nautical almanac and astronomical ephemeris for the year 1878. Gah! The heck is this? Did my homework when I was preparing for that trial. My legal homework, since at that time I expected there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is the Nautical Almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself, but if you look up solar noon, aka high noon for June the 18th and make the adjustments for Reno's longitude, what do you get? You've got to be kidding me. That's right, prosecutor. 12 o'clock p.m. precisely. No! Oh, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely. All my ammo. Can't think of any other way to disprove Macready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yeah, and then that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. Innocent man's death. Sure are good at repeating things people say. What if he didn't die? Say what now? Well, you didn't actually see the execution, right? Yes, well, I was indisposed, you might say, being dead and all. You don't actually know whether or not it happened. Oh, come on, look, I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. Let me ask you something. Alright, go ahead. Was the trial right after the duel, the 19th? Huh, no, I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then, and you can't try a murder charge in sheriff's front parlor. Macready sat in jail for a couple of weeks and then they transported him to Frisco. What with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. Jeez, so much for the right to a speedy trial. Wheel grinds slow. Jail for a few weeks and then they transported him to Frisco. Huh? What can you tell me about Macready? He was a gunfighter through and through, and by that I mean he was an adrenaline addict, and dueling was his needle of choice. Hell, if you told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with the specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was a sly one. Her expression softens and she sighs. I made him sound like a real devil. That's not fair. He was smart and charming and could have been a good man if he chose an entirely different life. Anything else? Well, I recalled he had a real good head for numbers. He told me that he never forgot a date and every man he'd ever killed. He'd remember to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday. Well, that's nice. That's a birthday present would have been not getting killed at all in the first place, of course. Yep. Why did he invoke trial by combat? Assuming he was innocent, why would Macready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. A duel will only worsen his odds. I'm mighty surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I can figure is it was his damn full sense of gunfighter's pride or something. Like that was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. When was the execution? When we held the trial by combat on the 26th, and that was a Friday, they don't execute prisoners on the weekend. So presumably it would have been the following Monday the 29th. In the morning? I was setting up the gallows and letting a crowd gather. They usually happen in the afternoon, around 3 typically. I'll be back. I may need to do some research. I am wondering if it actually wants me to go to Frisco. Since you specifically mentioned Frisco, I'm like, maybe? Yeah, sure, I'll raid the hive. The meat's pretty good, actually, now that I think about it. So, let's investigate Frisco. Could it be like, yeah, you have to go outside of the DLC to get to this? So, no, because there's just houses here. And it wouldn't be at the station. Okay, I have one more idea. And it's to go into the library and exchange this nautical book. No! Alright. Or read it, yeah. Look up a date in it. The book is almost entirely tables of numbers labeled things like logarithm of the radius vector of the Earth. You could look up any day in the year 1878. Who knows if you'll be able to figure out anything. Okay, let's go look at the date that she gives us. Yeah. Be my guess. So was the trial right after the duel? With one thing and another, trial didn't start until the 25th. Okay, when was the execution? 26th, so it would have been Monday the 29th. Okay. Monday the 29th. Look up a date. It was June, right? June 29. Look at the day and get a lot of numbers that don't mean anything. Damn it, what was it? I thought it was June. You got a question? July. Shit. July 29th, not June. Look at the date. Okay, so July 29. That was when Macready was going to be executed. Let's see. Wow, wait a minute. According to this, there's a total eclipse of the sun that day centered right over the Western Territories and with its totality at 247. It's a hell of a thing. Hell yeah, it is. Got a question. Looked up July 29th in your almanac. What? Now you're just messing. Almanac, and get this. There's a total eclipse of the sun that day. Now you're just messing with me. Look for yourself. Totality at 247, right over the Western Territories. That's quite a thing, but I don't see how that affects. Wait, unless you're suggesting. Right. It was the perfect opportunity for Macready to escape. It's absurd. Absurd like a fox. You said yourself that Macready was really good at remembering dates. He could have read about the eclipse at any time and stored that knowledge away for future use, like to give himself an advantage in a duel or something. Alright, that's reasonable as far as it goes, but Macready couldn't have worked the eclipse into an escape plan because he didn't have any say over the court schedule. You said, what with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. Macready could have caused any number of those delays himself by faking illness in prison or messing with the horses on the route to Frisco or anything. This would also explain the trial by combat. And there ended up being too much delay, so if a regular trial went on too long and he was found guilty, he would have missed the eclipse. Exactly. Whereas if he called for trial by combat, everything would have been resolved one way or another in one more day. Maybe you'd win and that'd be fine, but if you'd lost, he could have used his escape plan. I have to admit, this is pretty compelling. That's all maybes and what ifs. Yeah, maybe it happened, but maybe Macready was rescued by leprechauns. Oh man, are there leprechauns in Frisco? You need some kind of hard evidence before this is any more than just a fun story is what I mean. Well, let me ask you something else. How can I find evidence of Macready's escape? Well, we don't know that an escape even happened. True. Something like that would have been in the news for certain. Okay, I'll see what I can find. I think now to the library again? Big dictionary. Talk to her. Can you help me with some library stuff? Do you have any old newspapers? Yes, we have a small archive of the Frisco Newsinator dating back about 20 years. They're in the stacks. You shouldn't have trouble locating them. They're delicate, so please be careful. Investigate? Okay. God, this is in-depth. You find a few bundles of old newspapers at the bottom of one shelf. The Frisco Newsinator. You start at the bottom of the stack and flip through them until you find a newspaper for the week of July 28th to August 3rd. Main feature has to do with the eclipse and various accidents and spectacles that occurred because most people weren't expecting it. The editor apologized for burying the announcement in the previous week's weather forecast. Most notably, all 3 men scheduled to be hanged on the 29th escaped in the confusion and only 2 of them were recaptured. Unfortunately, their names aren't given. Keep looking. You don't find anything else relevant. However, as you're putting newspapers back in order on the shelf, a headline on a more recent news issue catches your eye. Husband of famous inventor missing. The article is light on information, but apparently Miss Gunn's husband Dan vanished on the road while traveling to Dirtwater on business about 6 years ago. Law enforcement suspected bandits, but no evidence was found. That's kind of grim. Okay, well I have more information. Again. God, I still don't know how to get rid of the librarian, but this is so in-depth. Stats? Is there something here? No. I'm running out of ideas. I truly am. I got a question. This is taking way too long. No, I'm good. I'm having fun. Found a newspaper article. The guy who's scheduled to be executed the day the eclipse escaped, and one of them was never caught. Which one? Well, didn't say he did it. Oh, damn it. Executed criminals aren't given gravestones with their names on them, so you can't just go looking around Frisco Cemetery to find out. Listen, Quasi, I really appreciate what you're trying to do, but at this point you would have to actually find Macready himself to prove he wasn't executed due to my failure. I guess that's what I'll do then. Oh my god. No! I have to find Macready? And it said... Okay, wait. So, it specifically mentioned the interesting thing about Mrs. Gunn's husband, right? What if I talk to you? Whatever. Will do. Oh, I thought maybe if I talk to you... Okay, but Mr. Gunn, is there anything in here? Why would there be? Why would there be anything in here about it? I'm trying so hard, okay? But this is difficult. This is difficult. I've also been recording for longer than I expected to be, but... Yeah, Oh, the balls are still... Oh, hey, I got a 6-ball. Play... Item gives my offhand. Apply 25 poison to enemy. Start every fight poisons. Interesting. Well, that's rough. That's rough. There's gotta be more information for me to do things with. I found a lot of the conclusions, but I'll have to think about this more, I guess. But, because every single time I was like, that's it. It's like, no, there's another goddamn step. There's always another one. I mean, now I'm like, what I'm thinking is, specifically because of what it mentions, like... Any idea where I should start looking for Macready? Wait. Guess as good as mine, I have to imagine he got as far as the heck away from Frisco as he could, though, if he's the one that escaped. Let's go somewhere else. As far away from he could as he could from Frisco. Back to Dirtwater. Back to the coach. Yeah, here. Jail? It's fine. Oh my god. No way. No way! I came over here. I was like, it said it was en route to Dirtwater. I was like, Desert House. Maybe this is it? Maybe it's Desert House? And it says Macready. Oh my god, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I've invested so much time and effort into this at this point that I really, really wanted to find it. I really, really did. And oh my god, we did. We did. You would have to remember that, like, this would have been one of the first locations that I ran into. This would have been one of the first locations that I ran into, and they called back to this in the DLC. That is wild. Because what I tried doing first, I actually tried wandering around Dirtwater, because I was like, maybe, you know, like, something will happen, like I'll find an area, or I'll find a gravestone while wandering near Dirtwater, but that wasn't it. So then, I tried choosing a place, because it said that the husband was attacked en route to Dirtwater. So I tried traveling from a place to Dirtwater, and I chose this one. And I was like, wait, it's like a desert house. Maybe someone lives here? And I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This, in any other playthrough, would have been something that I would have had to, like, look up. Like, I would have eventually gave up and been like, I'm just gonna have to look it up. I'm so glad I didn't have to, because that's super satisfying. You dig until your shovel hits a wooden coffin and haul the lid open. A skeleton blinks at you. Well, it doesn't, but anyway. Howdy. Howdy, are you guilty, Macready? Oh no, I heard that nickname, and what year is it? 1895. 17 years, no, I tell a lie. That was, one time 8 years ago. Say Macready that escaped the gallows during an eclipse? Well, now since the statute of limitations has expired, I might as well fess up. Yeah, that was me. Real sweet plan, too. Apart from the one little hitch, it went off smooth as silk. Even worked a little misdirection to lead the law to them other two fellers instead of me. Serves them right, too. They were real murderers, not like me. I never killed a man except in a fair fight. Except for that one little hitch you mentioned. Miscalculated how long to delay the trial. So in order to not miss the eclipse, you called for trial by combat. Oh, well, yeah, that's the truth of it. You're blaming me for Miss Wainwright's death, I suppose. Why didn't you just trust her? She would have gotten you declared innocent. She had a real good head on her shoulders, sure, but so did that prosecutor fella. Didn't rate the odds better than 50-50. Not good enough. And anyway, the trial by combat was part of her job. She should have been ready. Stinks, she trusted you. She's a ghost now because she feels guilty about losing that trial. It's been ages trying to convince her you weren't innocent, and she backed you every step of the way despite the fact you got her killed. You don't even care? Hell, you bite your tongue, sonny. You don't know me. Don't care? I did what I felt I had to stay alive, and I feel damn guilty about what happened to Miss Wainwright. But I ain't taking all the blame for it, no sir. She'll tell you herself she should have been better prepared, just like she told me that day, apologizing with her last breath. Gave up gunfighting for her. Gave up the only thing I loved, and that's how I felt about it. Gave up gunfighting? Weren't easy, but I did. Bought this house, bought this land, raised some chickens, and had a little vegetable garden. Place that had gone to hell since I died. That's a shame. Anyway, I never fired my pistol again, not even a damn fence post. That's not what it says on your grave. Oh man, read it again. That's the fellow what killed me having a little ironic joke, I reckon. Someone killed you? And only second person tracked me down. First was 9 years after the trial. Vic Timsbury's brother, hunting for revenge. What happened? Challenged me to a duel, and I told him I ain't doing that no more. He asked again, and I said no, and he hollered at me, and I took my pistol out of the closet and threw it at his feet so he could see that the cylinder was all rusted shut. And he cocked his gun and asked me one last time, and I said no. One last thing I remember is the bang. Jeez. Kinda him to bury me, though. Guess he weren't all bad. Dude, you wanna see Felicity again? I could take you to her ghost. I reckon I'll just go back to sleep. Ain't right a dead fella walking around. Just tell her sorry for me, alright? You can give her my pocket watch, she'll recognize it. Macready's pocket watch. Matt, guilty Macready's fancy silver pocket watch. Even after being buried for 9 years, it still chimes the hours. This item goes in your offhand. 50% to meat gains and 40% to item finding bonus. Bye, Macready. So long, fella. Close the coffin and fill the hole back in. I can't believe how in-depth that was. Like, what? That is wild. And it's the first thing you see at the beginning of the game. That idea kind of crossed my head too. It's like, oh yeah, it wants you to go back to the beginning of the game, because the other thing that I tried was I just went back to Dirtwater and searched every house. I went to like the jail and I was looking at all the houses and I was like, there's nothing about Macready at any of these places. I got a little bit obsessed with finding this because it was always like, but I'm so close, even if I wasn't actually close yet. This might not even be the end, I don't know. But we'll see, it very much feels like the end. Hey! Got a question for you. You ready for this? What now? Found Macready's grave. Wasn't executed. You're 100% certain it's him? Not some other man named Macready? It was him. Here, he gave me his watch to give you. She turns the watch around in her hands for a while, just looking at it without saying anything. Then she slowly winds it and listens as it chimes the hour. Yes, this is his watch, alright, thank you. You said he gave it to you, he's alive? Not exactly, he's a skeleton. Talked for a while, then he asked me to bury him again so he could get back to sleep. What'd he say? Confirmed our guesses. Knew about the eclipse in advance and stalled the trial for the escape plan, but stalled it too long and decided to hedge his bet by calling for trial by combat. See. He gave up gunfighting. What? Bought a little house and raised chickens, never fired his pistol again. In fact, he left it to rust. 9 years later, Timsbury's brother called up to him and challenged him to a revenge match. Macready refused repeatedly, so the guy shot him. He said to tell you he's sorry. She looks at you silently for a moment, then looks at the watch. She winds the hands back a minute and listens as it chimes again. She sighs and shakes her head and smiles at you. Thank you, Quasi. You'd make a damn fine attorney. She shakes your hand and fades from view as she does so, leaving her attorney's badge in your hand. Oh man, that feels things. Like, that was a whole character arc story that I got super invested in. So that one hits harder than a lot of the other ghosts being put to rest. Damn, that was a cool little quest line thing. I had fun with that. Holy shit. Oh my god, it's super good. Felicity and Wainwright's attorney's badge. One good turnabout deserves another. Oh, rest in peace, counselor. Oh my god. I've spent so much time on this. Hey Paul, how's it going? Shh, is the ghost still there? No, I took care of her. Oh, thank you. Oh my god, I didn't mean to click. No, I was trying to... I mean, it was on the screen, so people could see it. My hand twitched on my stupid mouse, and I was already hovering over the thanks bye prompt. Stupid hand. Alright, well, I guess we're done with this episode. I need to stop recording so I can actually render this. Luckily, I got up early today, so I actually had the time to just dive into this, but, yeah. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for some more.